Hey gang, how you doing? Turn this fan down a little bit here. It's about 90 some degrees outside. I got only the one light on, but they're LEDs, so they don't put out a lot of heat. But I got the fan circulating. Okay, didn't expect that. Sorry about that, guys. Well, today's video is a little impromptu. First, I got to tell you guys, having a bad day. Oh man. We had a good day. Yesterday we dropped my son off at camp for the first time ever. Well, not the first time ever, but it was the first camp that he went off with other boys. And that was pretty interesting. You know, he's been to camp, day camps, a couple of times when he was younger. And just about a couple of weeks ago, him and my daughter went off to a overnight camp. But it was part of the church. And it was a nice little organization called Christa Camp. They did that, and it was good because it was all the boys and girls, but they all knew each other. They were all there. They kind of went. We went together. I drive the Church of Anna every now and then, so I drove that. Dropped them off, picked them up. It was really cool. Had some issues there, but it wasn't anything to do with the group that he went with. It was just that they had some problems at the camp with some other kids. Normally that aren't normally there, I think. So had issues there. Well, a couple weeks later now he's going to another camp, all on his own. That's it. And it's not, you know, an hour from home. Literally takes like 4 or 5 hours of traveling, driving and ferries and such. So it's a huge thing for him. It's and also as being a parent, if some of you guys know, it's one of those steps that you're doing. You know, you're letting them get wings and go off, and you can't protect them all the time, so you're just kind of like, well, this is life's challenges and endeavors, you know, just let it go. So we dropped them off, my wife and I, my daughter, and we did a little traveling on the way back, did some sightseeing, but, you know, that sits in the back of your mind as a dad that, you know, it's a first for you, just like him. So anyhow, so I'm having actually, maybe if that's affecting my shop work, but I started 3 rogues, completely messed one up. I don't know how or why I did what I did, but it's messed up, so I only have 2. So I've got to finish these 2 off and start cracking on 3 more and get those going. So that's one of the other reasons why, you know, makers don't normally tell you, hey, your knife is going to be done in 2 weeks, because you never know. And today, the shop gremlins are really tapping on my shoulder. So with that said, the reason why this video is out, because it's impromptu, is the video I did a little while back, and I've touched it a couple of times about acid stonewash finishing and sandblasting and Cerakoting and KG coatings and all that stuff. And I've had a couple of people both on this platform at YouTube and then you know, on the side mention about the finishes of blades and the steels. And in particular, what came up is the sandblasting versus the acid stonewash finish. I can't go too much into weeds because I'm just starting this process out, the learning. But what's really cool is, being a homeschooler, we were afforded the opportunity a couple of years ago. My father, their grandfather, pitched in, and we bought the kids a really nice microscope. Not a little cheap one. The microscope kit and the microscope. Well, if I find it on Amazon, because we bought it off Amazon a couple of years ago, I'll put the link down below in the description through my Amazon affiliate, my link there. But I want to say probably 2 years ago, this microscope kit was about $350, $400, if not more. But again, I actually don't remember entirely. I looked at so many of them. But I think this was at least $350 or $400, if not more. But if I found it, I'll put it down below. It'll be there. So anyhow, the guys are mentioning about when I hand sand my knives and do the acid stonewash finish, or if I sandblast them and just leave them that way, or sandblast them in an acid stonewash. So there's these 3 little levels. I'm not going into the painting stuff because I'm not offering that yet. But what I did is, because I was having a rough day and I just wanted to stop grinding on knives for a bit, I hand sanded these down. I sandblasted one of them. I said, before I go any further, I'm going to do this video, and I want to see exactly these finishes. So I went ahead and I propped up the microscope, got myself my iPhone set up a little bit the best I could, and this is what we have here. So this is what I did. Now this is the microscope setup here. It's a Levenhuk 4L, 50L, and D50L. I don't know, let's see, it's Chicago, Illinois, but I'm not sure it was made there. It comes in a whole bunch of different languages and such, but anyhow, that's it right there. That is it in a nutshell. So, as you see, I have the sandblast, or this is the hand sanded finish to 120 grit. That is the sandblast finish, 120 grit. And I got the microscope set up, I got my little LED light to shine in there, and I hooked up my phone. And that's what we have. This is the finish of the sandblasted one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in some video. I'm going to throw in video here and pictures and stuff like that to really kind of show you, because you guys will see that I was fighting with the camera a little bit with everything. This is the sandblasted finish. So the sandblasted finish, as you see, it's almost like a little moon crater. And I know guys in the past have mentioned the moon crater effect when it comes to sandblasting, and that I would never deny that being the actual case. One of the questions is that the sandblasting finish would actually open itself up to corrosion faster than to the hand sanded finish. And really the only reason I could say that somebody would think that is because the sandblasting finish is leaving you a finish like this. These little tiny moon crater type thing. I mean, it's pretty cool when you stand back and you look at this. It's like, oh, that looks like I got a moon on my phone. But when you get closer, you can see, and hopefully this will all come out well in the camera, is you can see all those little bumps and those little craters from the aluminum oxide, 120 grit aluminum oxide. That's the finish it leaves right there. And that was after I hand sanded it slightly, and then I do the sandblasting finish right there. So when we take the sandblasted part out and we put the 120 grit in there, let me see as soon as I get that in there, get that rested, and let's get this to focus. Okay, that's pretty good right there. So as you guys will see, this 120 grit hand sanded finish, if you look at that, other than being, it's got its own uniformity, of course, because the sand is going, the sandblasted finish is going back and forth. It's going left and right. But to think that maybe there is less surface that would catch corrosion, I am going to have to disagree. Only because of the fact that in the sandblasting, it's like a moon crater, all these little divots and such. But with hand sanding, you can see there are significant lines and ridges and everything all through that. It just has a different look, but I don't know if it necessarily would have an effect on not corroding as fast as sandblasted. I hope that's making sense to you guys. So if see what I mean is when you look at the sandblast finish, there's all the little pits and the divots and the highs and lows. But then when you look at the hand sanded finish, there's still all the highs and lows. It's just they're really long. So I don't really know that there's any more or less surface. If you were to look at something with ridges, meaning a high and then a low, I don't really know if there's really that much of a difference between the highs and lows, the amounts of highs versus lows on sandblasted as there is on the hand sanded finish. And I really hope I'm explaining this properly. I'm afraid I'm going to go back and I'm going to edit this video and it's going to sound horrible and completely ridiculous. If I was sandblasting at 80 grit and I was hand sanding at 120, then I would say yes, because the 80 grit is really going to go in deep. It's going to leave bigger surfaces and it's going to go in there, and it's not going to be as fine as the 120 grit. Now, when I look at the 120 grit hand sanded, I see these lines going across there where it seems like everything would grab. And when you look at the blade itself, you can still see the lines from hand sanding. When you look at a sandblast finish, you don't see any lines. You don't see any noticeable issues. And I have a tendency to believe that the corrosion or anything would roll off of this. It's smoother on the surface than it is having something with lines going across this way. and feeling that it's not as smooth as this, having been a bunch of little divots and bumps and everything. I don't know if that makes any sense. I guess the next step is, at this point, and having taught the kids and go through stuff, you want to make a hypothesis about things. The first step is to study the two items that we have, which we do have. So later what I'm going to end up doing, and nowadays it's not going to be the greatest because here in the Pacific Northwest we're 90 some degrees right now, and we get that for a few weeks, a month. But I think what I'm going to do next later on down the line is I'm going to take one of these blades that's hand sanded, and another blade that's sandblasted, and then another blade that is acid stonewash finished. And maybe I'll need 4 blades. Maybe I'll do that. I'll do acid stonewash on a sandblasted, acid stonewash on a hand sanded, just hand sanded, and just sandblasted. Those 4 different finishes, and I'll peg them to a board outside, and I'll just let them go. Now these aren't heat treated, so I would do that to all heat treated blades. I'm not going to do that to just raw steel, but I thought that might be pretty neat. So I'm just, I'm in here, I'm taking pictures and stuff, so hopefully I've been using the pictures and the video and everything that I took here, but hopefully this helps. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this before in a video for, knife making and stuff, but that shows you the difference between what my blades look like. Now this is CPM D2 steel. Maybe it'll look different with other steels. I don't know. But I thought it was pretty interesting. Once it was mentioned again in one of the videos, it says, you know what, I could do that. Let's make a video on it. Let's see what we can do and figure out all it is. I don't see right now a difference whether I hand sanded it and acid stonewashed it, or whether I sandblasted and acid stonewashed it. I don't see that there would be a remarkable difference. I guess it's just what kind of look you're looking for. The aesthetics, what you want. Do you want that gray as it gets dirty? It just shows it, and yeah, you'll get scratches on this, but there's no finish. The scratches I don't think will be any really all that different with the hand sanded finish versus this. You're still going to get scratches on a surface like all of our knives are as we use them. But with the acid stonewash finish, it does kind of show a little differently. So I don't think you're going to go wrong with any of those choices. I don't think it's an issue anyway. But I am going to look forward to this fall, come back to this topic and address it again, and get those, get 3-4 pieces of steel. It'd be 4 pieces of steel. Put them outside and see what happens from there. So sorry it was probably long-winded, but this was kind of an impromptu video just to get my mind off the knife gremlins. I'm going to go up and have a little lunch, and hopefully it was helpful. But again, guys, I do appreciate the comments. Hey, I'm open to it. I'm open to the suggestions. If I can try it out, we'll try it out. We'll go through that process. It's great. I like the feedback. This is cool. So again, leave feedback down below. Let me know, hey, you dork, or hey, that's pretty cool. But like I said, if there's any information, the microscope, all that stuff, I'll leave it down below in the description if I can find it. Otherwise, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you for all the comments, the likes, shares, all that stuff. It's really good. Remember to hit me up over on Facebook, Instagram as well. My kids are doing these knife scales and stuff like that, or my daughter is, and that's pretty cool. So, yeah, guys, have a good one. Take it easy.
I'm captivated.